you're done and have been paid for your job, did you hit all the targets that you quoted? This next slide is an example of how we apply all our job costs to the customer. Going back to the bookkeeping aspect quickly, this bill, again, shows our process for recording transactions individually. Doing this accounts for each individual cost of your job. We place the correct account, in this case it's materials, the amount of the invoice, and then the customer we sent the concrete to. It is important to put the customer and the job on your vendor bills to ensure that the expenses are accounted for. The more details, the better. After you have the transaction recorded, the final component when it comes to profitability is to always analyze your projects upon completion. After you complete a project, gather your data and answer these questions. Did the project cost as much as you estimated? Were there issues you didn't foresee? How could those issues be avoided in the future? Was your timeline correct? We use a job profitability report now, but we used to write it on the inside of the job folder. I just want to talk about this briefly because when I showed you that bill earlier, if you look in here where it says cost of goods sold, there's going to be material costs and subcontractor expense. When I apply that to this job, being small on my screen, but when I apply it to this job, on the customer section, that part that was circled in red, it accounts for it here, and then you have 100% accuracy on this report. If you don't apply the customer, you don't put the customer in that section, there's jobs that are going to not be tracked accordingly. In this example, you'll see that the job total that we billed the customer for was $125,000, and the expenses we incurred were $76,000. Leaving a profit of $48,000 for that job. The post-job step is crucial for you to improve your bidding process and in return, gain more profits for your business. Sometimes it's necessary to gather your whole team together and discuss what went really well and what didn't. The 4 boxes and the questions on the screen are a great starter for groups. This will help you determine what practices to continue to implement and what to remove from your process. Ask your team how productivity can be increased for the next project. What were some setbacks? Better planning will help you grow your business and increase profitability long-term. Play the long game. In construction, growth is about people and processes. Improving your team's knowledge and efficiency will pay you for a lot longer than one job. Invest in the time to develop a solid construction process and develop your people. Provide them with education and feedback, and then listen when they have ways to improve the process. Referring back to your transaction list, do all companies have the same accounts? No, they do not. I recommend that you sit down with your accountant and develop a chart of accounts. It needs to entail your scope of work and your needs. They make generalized lists, but it should be specific to your industry and your scope of work. This isn't a question, but I would like to give a little piece of advice as well, a little nugget at the end. I want to talk about an asset list. Currently, we are renovating our asset list, and as all things, when you're in business, if you can go back and do something 10 years before versus now, it would make a ton of difference. And it's no different in this asset list. My old asset list, I just had the make and model of the vehicle or equipment, possibly the serial number if I could find it, and what value I decided I wanted to put on it. The facts are you need to make sure it includes the year that you purchased it. You also need the details, including the VIN, the cost you paid, and the market value of it currently. Excel is what I use. It works really great. I also think that you need, let me get my notes here. It also is a benefit to have asset type because you can group it differently: equipment, machinery, vehicles, office equipment, things like that. And then a new section that we added in ours is a disposal method. Whether if you get rid of it, if you sell it, or it got stolen, or you scrapped it, and then the disposal date and how much you sold or got rid of it for. So that's my last little nugget of information. I don't see any more questions. So thank you all so much for joining me. I am the president of Bulldog Steel, located in Big Spring, Texas. Stay tuned for updates on our next Steel School webinar and content for the future.